It is not death that a man should fear, but rather he should fear never beginning to live. That is Marcus Aurelius. And Confucius said, a great man is hard on himself, while a small man is hard on others. Dear Africans, are we hard on ourselves or on others? You are welcome to my channel. And then on today's episode, we're going to discuss See Beyond Your Eyes Africans. And my reason for choosing this topic is because I believe successful people don't move with the times. They rather move ahead of the times. So let's get down to business. In 1884, at the Berlin Congress, 15 European countries partitioned and divided Africa the way it is today. And by 1914, all African countries have already been colonized, her people and resources exploited. But by 1940s, 1950s, and 60s, Cameroon, Nigeria, Tanzania, Malawi, Uganda, and so many other African countries got her independence from Britain and France and other colonial powers. And then, that marked the 75 years of colonial rule. Fast track to 2022, this is 2022, like 60 years or 50 years after independence. The impact of colonization is still being felt. Our educational system, as we practice it today, is modeled according to the British educational system. In most Anglophone African countries, English is seen or used as the official language. And then, there is this movie that came out now, and the whites are actually angry that black is being used to portray the mermaid. And it's funny. I must say this. No one has right to tell Africans to forget about their history. Yes, we can say slavery and colonization is in the past, but so is the Holocaust. And it's still observed to this point. I mean, the Israelis can never forget what Germany did to them. Mexico will never forget how America took away New Mexico from them. The Chinese will never forget what the Japanese did to them. So I think nobody should actually shut down the black man when he talks about his past that is still painful to him. Because, to be honest, neo-colonization or neo-colonialism is still until this point. How you think determines your state of being. In as much as Africa has a ugly past, so do others. I mean, the Asian tigers do. And I must say this, I believe we should have grown past this blame game by now. I mean, it's over 50 or 60 years. We should stop blaming the Queen for not having potable water in Africa or good roads. These are wholly our leaders. And I want you guys to know that the reason for the small size of the rear mirrors in our cars is because what is behind us is not as important as what is ahead of us. So if we must make progress in Africa, then we have to pick a leaf from countries that have experienced similar things like us. A clear example is Israel. The Israelis were enslaved by the Egyptians for over 400 years. But today, the Israelites are world powers, or Israel is a world power. What did they do? They moved on. They did not continue blaming the Germans for the 6 million Jews killed in Warsaw. They actually had to pick up pieces of their lives and moved on. Another country I would want to mention is, let's go to Japan. On the 6th of August 1945, the city of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was bombed by the Americans, and over 200,000 people were killed. Today, Japan and Singapore are on the same level as if not even greater, because they moved on. We need to learn from these guys. We need to be ruthless with our own selves first before pointing accusing fingers at the outside. What is more, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Australia were all colonized by the British, but they are better off now. I mean, Singapore, for instance, were colonized for 144 years by the British, whereas Nigeria was colonized for only 75 years. But today, the strongest passport in the world is the Singaporean or Singapore passport. What is Nigeria doing? Are you going to be accusing the British for that too? I mean, when we African countries get serious and work on themselves, I want every African to know that before the British Empire, we had the Persians, Babylonian, and the Roman empires. And then we need to know that stronger nations would always want to control smaller nations. And, see Russia and Ukraine. And I would just say this: I hate the fact that slavery happened. I hate the fact that we were colonized. I wish it never happened, but we have to tell ourselves the truth. Africans were not the only people colonized, and our ancestors were not sent to. I mean, they traded themselves before this. So we should just not cherry pick the part of history that would make us victims. We shouldn't. I mean, our leaders today are still going to the West for medical tourism. Is the white man responsible for this? The truth is that we cannot move Africa forward by blaming colonization or others if we don't take responsibilities of our lives today. In psychology, there is a thing called the locus of control. Those with internal locus of control believe that they can control their lives and existence by working on the anomalies to make it right. But those that have the external locus of control believe that everyone but themselves is at fault. They are constantly blaming others for the wrong things that are happening here. Do you see Africa in the second? On a final remark, if the energy we have expended on attacking the late Queen and the West has been channeled to holding our African leaders accountable, then Africa would have been a better place than it is now. You know, most of our African leaders, I must say, are just as guilty as the white man was. Dear Africans, we need to look beyond our eyes. Colonization ended a long time ago, so we need to shift our focus from blame to building. Set your eyes free from the hate. Quit the hate. Channel your energy right. Stop hating on the whites. History is here for us to learn from, not to hate on the whites. You know, we need to stop living in the past and start living in the present while preparing for the future. If you have a different opinion from what I've said here, please drop it in the comment section. I would like to hear from you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Catch you up next week. Bye.